Okay, hello. Welcome to page 29 of my graphic novel of comic strips, Found Earth, and thank you for joining and watching and contributing to the Patreon. This is page 29. This is by far one of the simplest pages that I ever did for this book. It's pretty straightforward, 3 panels. Not a whole lot of action, although I do love the bouncing off the top of the mountain here that you're going to see. Here we're getting to it. I showed how I divided up the page here. I actually recorded that part. Excuse me. I don't always do that. Sometimes that's the hardest part of the page, is working out where everything's going to be. I don't have a whole lot of the tools that people that do comic books usually use, but I like to freehand things. Just basically have a T-square and just a straight 1-foot ruler. It seems to serve me well enough. Nobody's complained, so I guess it's okay. At my day job, I tend to, instead of listening to music, listen to podcasts that professionals put out about the art of making comics, whether it's on the web or physical copies, and that's been an education for me. Learned a lot of things from that. A lot of it is to come to the acceptance that I'm doing this for myself, and financial benefits that come later are bonus and gravy. There's an awful lot of people out there that want to make comic books but don't actually do it. One of the commentators, one of the people being interviewed on one podcast, declared that there may be more people wanting to make comics than there are people buying comics. And while that is scary, it does give me hope, because I'm actually finishing this one, and so I will have a product at the end. I'm not wanting to make a comic, I'm actually making it. The angles on this this bounce motion that I did here with lift was really hard to work out. That took some work to get the angles of the body just right. And it's not technically truly in proportion. You'll notice I didn't use proportion line. I didn't use like horizon lines and perspective lines. That's the word I'm looking for. So it's not technically in perspective, but it looks right, and that's what matters when you're reading these sort of funny little things. Mostly when you're making something, just stay positive and continue to do it. And you don't have to move the mountain all at once. You don't have to get it all done, this week or this month or even this year. You just have to keep plugging away at it. I went to Free Comic Book Day this weekend, and there were some creators there, and they were selling books, and one of them was really excited about this comic book about a guy who became a zombie during the zombie apocalypse, but his spirit didn't leave. His spirit's just kind of tagging along with his zombie body, and it was absolutely hilarious. And it's not anything what I normally pick up, but when I looked at the publication date, there was like a year between the 2 comics, and he only had numbers 1 and 2 out, and he was working on number 3 as we were talking over his table. So, these things may come slow, but regardless of what you're working on, whether it's building a car or in your garage or, you know, writing a book or making things, you just keep plugging away at it. And you move the mountain one shovelful, one rock at a time. And, you know, just, it's hard sometimes to stay positive, but you just do it. You find joy in the completed task. You break large things down to small things, and you take those little victories and you roll with them. And so that's what I'm doing with this, and what I'm hoping you're doing with what you're doing. When it's all said and done, this project will be 195 pages long. That's what happens when you leave me alone with a notebook for 10 years. Sorry, 10 years. I start writing and I get carried away. So it turned into a really big project. So what I did is I've broken it down into 3 65-page, we'll call them volumes. They're too long to be chapters. And so we'll break them down, and this is the first one, and the second one will also be 65, and the third one will also be 65. And if I choose to carry it on beyond that, I don't know. We'll see. I don't have anything written. I have some ideas. Time will tell. Maybe somebody else will carry it on, and I'll just write it, and somebody else who can spend the time drawing all that can do that. But I have other stories I want to tell as well. So I think when it's all said and done, I have close to 20 stories. So even if I get one done a year, that would be 20 years. I'm turning 40 this year. It took me a long time to get started. I feel like Jack Kirby. He didn't really get published until he was 44. So if it's not coming easy to you, don't feel bad at all. It'll happen. Just got to keep pushing for it. Went and saw Infinity War, Avengers Infinity War. That was really cool. If they tweaked that story just a little bit, like told it from Thanos' point of view instead of the Avengers, if we didn't have all that, I could have swore that Thanos would have been the good guy for that movie. He could have been the protagonist, and the Avengers could have been the villain. I guess it all depends on your point of view. Obi-Wan may be right in that. But yeah, it was a really good movie. So I recommend that one. I also recommend getting out. Check your comic book stores, local. They may still have some free comic books from the weekend sitting out. And most of them are enjoyable reads. Some of them are just advertisements for what they're doing over the course of the next year or so. Like the different publishers use it for advertising. Like you get snippets of stories they're going to do. The good ones are stories in and of themselves. I think the Avengers one was really cool. Yeah, I think they're really pushing that. I don't know. I haven't personally bought a Marvel comic book in forever, mostly because of the constant reboots, and it's not appealing to me to constantly have to keep up with them rebooting the entire universe every time. I don't know. You know, enjoy what you enjoy. So inking all this is lots of fun. Yeah, that's my favorite part, when he bounces off the top of that mountain. It's a real simple page, lots of big spaces to color, and yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope my rambling hasn't put you off completely. I hope you learned something, maybe from the rambling. I don't know. And I want to say thank you to my patrons, Joe and Scott. Thank you for your support. I should have enough at this point that I will be trying to get a PayPal card, and we'll get this taken care of to where I can buy the actual video program and get rid of that stripe down the center. I think I've reached that goal. So now I need to reassess my Patreon and get all of that together so that I can start getting some things to maybe improve the videos a little bit, and to purchase some more paper because it looks like I'm starting to run out. Alright, well, I'll see you next week. Have a good week, and talk to you later. Bye.